the dogs barking. They think that I'm talking to somebody that's really here. So today I'm coming to you from the kitchen. I'm not really sure if that light is helping or hurting, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm coming to you from the kitchen today to share another recipe. So today I'm going to be making steak and red gravy. This is a family favorite of mine. And this is a recipe that came from my ex-mother-in-law, and everybody absolutely loves it, and I've made it, and so I was gonna share the recipe with you, and I did not get permission to share, but my thought process is it's easier to get forgiveness than permission, so I'm gonna go ahead and share. So as you can see, I've got some cube steak here. Bought this today at Walmart. It is almost 2.5 pounds. There's probably going to be at least 8 good cube steaks in here. I've got 3 pretty good sized stalks of celery. You're also going to need some flour. You'll need some chili powder. You'll need just some regular black pepper. You'll also need salt if you include salt in your diet. We don't include salt in ours. I don't cook with salt. You could also use some Mrs. Dash, whichever flavor of Mrs. Dash you like. You'll also need some vegetable oil. And I've got 2 cans. They are 15 ounces each of tomato sauce. And you can use any brand of tomato sauce that you would like. So that is the ingredients, and also you'll need some water, maybe half a can or so. So that's the ingredients that we'll be using today. I am actually going to cook this in my Instant Pot. So not only am I sharing a family favorite recipe, but I'm also going to show you how you can cook it in your Instant Pot. It gets done, it's yummy, it's like you've simmered it and cooked it all day, but you haven't because you don't have to. So let me change this camera angle so that you can see what's going to be going on in the Instant Pot, and I'll be right back. Okay, so for this portion, please excuse if I get wobbly, but I'm actually holding the camera right now. I just want you to be able to see up close. This is an Instant Pot, not an Instapot. I don't know why people call them that. But anyway, I've got an 8-quart Instant Pot, which you can see right here. It's got several functions. You've got soup, meat stew, bean chili, poultry. On this side you've got rice, multigrain, porridge, and steam. Down here you've got yogurt. You can adjust the pressure. You can also use it as a slow cooker, but I will be honest with you when I say it does not work as well as a crock pot as a slow cooker. So you still want to keep your slow cooker. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just my opinion. It's got a saute button, a manual button, a timer, and a keep warm cancel. Okay, so that is my 8-quart Instant Pot. Now as you can see, I've got stickers, magnets actually, on the side. And those will tell you basically what you need to know about what you're cooking. That one right there is for rice and grain. And I couldn't get close to that because my tripod is sitting on the counter. This one is meat cook times. And then I've got another one, vegetable cook times. We actually got those off of Amazon, and so I will link those in the description of the video. Then I've just got the stainless steel inner pot. So yeah, there's the Instant Pot, and y'all are going to learn how to cook steak and red gravy in the Instant Pot. Your lives will be changed forever. Let me get this set up on the tripod so you can actually see what's going on inside the pot as I'm doing this, and I'll be back. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, once we plug it in, you're going to hear a sound. That'll let you know that it's got power. What I'm going to do is press the saute button, which I showed you, that's on the bottom, and it's going to allow the Instant Pot to start warming up, and it will warm up rapidly. This saves you from having to, that's just letting us know that it accepted our saute setting and that now it's heating up. This allows you to brown, like if you're making something that you have to brown hamburger or you have to brown your meat first, you can do it right in the Instant Pot. So what's going to happen is I'm going to, while this is heating up, I'm going to be flouring, and with some pepper, I'm going to be flouring the cube steak. And then when this gets up to temperature and it says saute, or it says hot on the front, it'll say hot on the front. Then I'll add my oil in, and then I will brown the cube steak off, and then we'll make the red gravy. So I'm going to pause this video for just a minute while this continues to heat up, and I will be right back. Okay, while my Instant Pot is warming up, I'm just going to take this bowl and flour and pepper my cube steak. And like I said, you can definitely use salt in this too if you use salt in your cooking. We don't, and I don't really want the taste or the flavor of the Mrs. Dash in this, so I'm just going to do pepper and flour. Alright. If you like anything that's a little, it's got a little bit of heat because of the chili powder, but it's not spicy at all. And let me tell you, it's satisfying. This is comfort food at its finest. I'll widen that out just a little bit. This is comfort food at its finest. This would make a really good Valentine's meal. You got a little heat with the chili powder. It's red because it's red gravy. It's steak. But it's not going to cost you an arm or leg to make this. And we definitely agree in this family that if you make steak and red gravy, you need to serve it with mashed potatoes and green peas. It is just the perfect combination. All the elements. Yes, it's a little carb heavy. But look, you can also pair it with a salad, which will lighten it up just a little bit. Make you a decadent chocolate dessert. I'm telling you right now, that would make for a pretty awesome Valentine's evening dinner. For two or for the whole family. The little kids, even the little kids love this. Who doesn't like a good, soft, tender chopped steak? And you really can't go bad, you can't go wrong with this red gravy that's got just the right amount of heat to it. So I'm going to continue flouring these. It looks like the Instant Pot is up to temperature because the front of it says hot. Now you don't want to put all of these in your Instant Pot at the same time. Actually, I'm going to have to do it in batches of probably 3. You don't want it to be overly crowded. But now just remember, we're not trying to cook this all the way through right now. We're just trying to get a little bit of brown on it. So I'm going to change the angle of the video again so that you can see what's going on inside the pot. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm just going to put some oil in the bottom of the Instant Pot, just enough to cover it. Okay, just enough to cover it. I'm going to give it just a minute or so, just to let that oil start to heat up. It won't take long. And then I'm going to start dropping my cube steak that I've floured in there and start browning that up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead here and just put that piece in. You can't hear it. It sizzled just a little bit. So I'm going to give that just another minute to get a little bit more heat in that oil. I can see it bubbling around the edge. So it's close. Alright, yeah, it's starting to sizzle now. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 more pieces. Like I said, you don't want to overly crowd this, and we're not trying to cook it all the way through right now. We're just trying to get some brown on it. So I'm going to brown those 3 pieces off, and we'll be back. I decided I'd let the camera stay on for just a few minutes so that you could actually see it cooking away for just a little bit. And then I'll pause it when we get the next batch going. So yeah, see, it's sizzling away, and this gets pretty hot, and it stays on saute for about 30 minutes. So if you have a couple pounds of ground beef that you need to brown up in here, I make Santa Fe soup, I make vegetable soup. If I have to brown anything, I go ahead and brown the meat right in there. And it's no problem at all to brown up a couple pounds of ground beef in there for my Santa Fe soup. And then just add everything else to it, and hey, you've used 1 pot. You can see it's starting to cook around the edges, so it won't be but just another minute or so, and I'll flip that over. Alright, let's go ahead and flip this over. Nice and brown. So, a couple minutes on that side, we'll be able to take that batch out and get another batch in. And as I suspected, there were 8 pieces. I've finished flouring the other pieces. There were actually 8 pieces in that family pack of cube steak from Walmart. It was $13.15. So that's not bad. You can feed a family on that. Well, most people could. My daughter might need 2 packs of that because her family loves to eat, but they love the steak and red gravy. But for some reason, she always wants me to make it. She knows how to make it. I think she just wants me to make it. But anyway, I'm going to let that continue to brown off, and we'll change that out and get the rest of it cooked up. And just a tip, after you're finished flouring your meat and everything, keep that flour, because after we get finished browning this off, and we may have to add a little bit more oil in there, we may not, but we might. Once we get finished browning all the meat, we're actually going to take some of the flour, stir it around in the oil that's in the Instant Pot to thicken up the gravy. So don't throw away your flour mixture once you get your meat all coated. Alright, even though you can see that there's still some red juices running, that's okay, because this is going to pressure cook. We're just trying to get a little brown, so I'm going to go ahead and take this out. And get a few more pieces in. Does look like I need a little bit more oil. It's dry in the center, so I'm going to add just a little bit more. You don't need a whole lot. You're not trying to deep fry them, but it does need to have oil in there to keep that from all sticking and getting burnt. Okay, so I'm going to continue and get all the rest of this meat browned up, and I'll be back. I did just want to come back in and say these are the last two pieces, and as you can see, it's getting a little crusty around the edges on the inside of the Instant Pot. It's okay, don't worry, because what's going to happen is those little bits are going to become part of the gravy, and it's going to be yummy. It's still on saute. The front of my Instant Pot still says hot. It hasn't taken 30 minutes. As you can see, your Instant Pot turns around. So if while you're trying to flip your meat over and all that, if it flips around, it's okay. It just spins around like that. And it does start to stick to the bottom. The brown does start to stick to the bottom instead of to the meat, and that's okay too. You're not trying to get a fried piece of steak out of here. You're just trying to brown it off. Okay? Just brown. Not deep fried. It's not going to come out with a total crust on it. Okay? You're just trying to brown it off. It's still working fine. Everything's good. If you're getting this stuck to the bottom, it's okay, because we're going to add tomato sauce and water. That's going to just cook up and make the yummy gravy that we want on the cube steak. So no panicking. It's okay if it looks like that, okay? And I'm going to let that continue to cook, and we'll come back. We'll work on the gravy and show you what else to do and get this thing under pressure. Stay tuned. Okay, so I got all the meat browned off. My saute timer did go off, but that's only because I've been recording this video. Typically you can get it done before the saute goes off, but if you don't, it's okay. You can turn your Instant Pot off, then hit saute again, and it will come back up. I've got, and that's actually what I did, so right now I'm going to turn my pot off. I want to say I have probably about 2 tablespoons of oil in there, and so I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of flour in here. Okay? Because now we're working on the tomato gravy. And as you can see, I'm using a fork, not a spoon, so I'm just kind of guesstimating. I may need to put a little bit more. And you can see it's kind of stuck in there, but that's okay, because we're going to put water and tomato sauce, and that's just going to get all of that out of the center, okay? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pour in my 2 cans of tomato sauce. And don't forget, when you're cooking in the Instant Pot, you have to have liquid. You need at least a cup of water. So I'm going to put a half a can of water in, and I'm going to stir it around, and I'm going to see if I need to add any more here in just a minute. So in goes a half a cup, or a half a can of water. And I'm just going to stir that around just a little bit. I'm trying to just incorporate that flour and the roux, I guess is what you call it. I'm just trying to incorporate that right now. Okay. So after you do that, you can get rid of the flour that you were saving from where you dredged the meat. Now you want to add your chili powder. I don't typically measure, or as I say, measure, my chili powder. I usually just shake it on to cover the whole top of the pan, whether I'm cooking in this pan or another pan. But for video sake, I'm going to try to measure it if I can. So I'm gonna start with 1 tablespoon. Nope, I'm gonna start with 1 tablespoon of chili powder, and I know it's going over a little bit, but this is not exact. So you can shake it right out of the jar. Okay, so that's not covering. I'm going to guesstimate it's probably 2 tablespoons of chili powder. Although, it does depend on what kind of chili. Honestly, it could be 3. It is going to depend on what kind of chili powder you're using and what your taste is. You can make this as spicy as you want to. My mother-in-law, who I got this recipe from, used Mexican chili powder. I used to be able to get that all the time where I live now in Alabama. She lives in Indiana. They have it all the time. I can't find it anymore, but I'm telling you, she puts some heat to hers. I don't get quite that much heat, but honestly, I think I'm going to go 3 tablespoons of chili powder. Because it just isn't covering, and I think I think that's probably going to be right. So I'm going to say 3 tablespoons of chili powder. I'm going to go back in with my fork and mix that up a little bit. I need to keep an eye on the consistency of the gravy. You don't want it too runny, but it has to be thin enough that it can create enough steam. Okay? I think I'm going to be okay with this. I think I'm good with that. 2 cans of tomato sauce, half a can of water, 3 tablespoons of chili powder. I think that'll be good. Alright, I'm going to change the angle of the camera again so that I can show you the next step. Okay, so here is where I know I'm going to lose a couple people. And I know one, Aunt Dee Dee, I would lose you on this step. But this is an important step because this step is what gives this dish, along with the chili powder, it's what gives this dish its unique flavor. It's the celery. Okay? So I've already washed these. I just need to cut the ends off. And then we're going to cut them in pretty fine pieces. Please be careful when you're doing this. So what I do on this is start from the wide end, and I'm going to cut down the stalk twice. Okay? I'm not going all the way to the end on the wide end. Just, I'm going to leave about a ½ inch there. And I'm just going to cut down through, if I can, the stalk twice. Now you've got 3 pieces, but they're still, whoops, they were still connected till I tried to show you. But they were still connected, okay? Then you're just going to cut them pretty thin, okay? Please use your knife safety. I'm not the world's best chopper, but please keep your fingers back away from the sharp knife, okay? You're going to just cut all 3 of these just in thin little pieces, okay? Okay, so now that I've got all the 3 pieces of celery sliced up, I'm going to change the camera angle again and get the steak and the celery put back in the gravy and get it under pressure and get it cooked up. Let me change the camera angle. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the celery in and stir it around, and then I'll add the steak in there. Stir that all around and get it covered good, and then we'll get it under pressure. And like I said, if you don't like celery, this is probably a game changer for you, but you need to at least try it once. It cooks down really soft and tender. You don't have that really crunchy celery thing going on, but it just makes the flavor of this dish. The combination of the chili powder and the celery is what makes this thing unique. So let's get our 8 pieces of steak back in there. We'll stir that all around, get it covered good. I'll probably have to change the angle again so that you can, I want you to be able to see me putting the lid on and all that. So I'll probably have to change, I may have to just take the camera down and hold it again, but that'll be alright too. Alright, so we've got all that in there. Get it covered up good. I'm still trying to judge. And I think that gravy is thin enough that it will be able to create the pressure we need. I don't think we need any more liquid in there. So give me just a minute and I'll get the camera down and we'll get on to the final step. Okay, so I did want to show you one other thing about the Instant Pot. You can see right there is the lid. It sits down in this little groove that's also the handle. So when you're preparing your food, you don't have to worry about where your lid is, what's going on. It's just sitting right there in its little home. Okay? So, you're going to take your lid, and there's an arrow right there on the lid, and there's an arrow, I can't see it, right here on the Instant Pot. Okay? arrow on the lid, arrow on the pot. And you just heard that noise. When you've got it lined up, it seats itself in there, and then you just turn it. And it's locked. It's in position. The next thing you need to do is make sure your little valve back here is on seal. And I apologize, I've got my light right there so y'all can see. But that says seal, this says vent. So when you're starting to cook, you need to have your valve to the back where it says seal. When your Instant Pot comes up to pressure, this little valve right here is going to pop up. Now sometimes you're going to see steam coming out from around this, and that's okay. It's just building pressure. And no worries. This is not like the old-timey pressure cookers that Grandma used to have that the lid could blow off. No worries. You heard the noise. The thing is seated properly. The lid's on. You've got your valve set to seal. Now you're going to come to the front, and we're going to do this on manual. So you're just going to touch manual. Oh, when I got meat stuff on it when I was cooking. And I've already got it set for 45 minutes, but if you didn't already have it set, you would adjust your time by using these buttons right here, okay? But we're going to leave it on 45 minutes. 45 minutes seems to be my magic number for a whole bunch of stuff that I cook in the Instant Pot. So we're going to let that cook for 45 minutes, and I'll be back. That just lets you know that it's set for 45 minutes. And it got your direction, okay? So I'll be back when the timer goes off. Okay, so here we are, and you can see the steak and red gravy has been just holding in the Instant Pot for 1 hour and 46 minutes. Now, I will say that it never popped the little thing up. But I'm sure that it's because the sauce was so thick, and I did add 1 more cup of water. I never got a burn notice. And this has done this in the past, and I can guarantee you that the cube steak is going to be just fork tender where you can just tear it apart. So I wanted to show you that and let you know that if it doesn't come up to pressure where your pop-off valve pokes up, it's okay. You can hear it. You can hear it boiling, and it's creating steam and all that. So I just want to let you know that it's okay, and gonna proceed with the video. I'm gonna plate this up with some mashed potatoes and some green peas, and we will get a taste test and let you know how it came out. And I'm gonna open the Instant Pot and let you look inside and see what it looks like. And again, excuse the light back there, but it's just for video. So there's no pressure right now. The pop-off valve is not up. I can turn this to release the steam. There's no steam to be released. So I can go ahead and just open the Instant Pot. Open the lid. And then just sit it in its little holder here. And any liquid that's in the lid is going to drain into the edge here. And it's going to run into this little cup that's on the back. And I'll show you about that another time. So, I've got my hand on the camera. So, let me just stir this around a little bit. you can see that it's a thick tomato gravy. You can see the meat in there. You can see the steam. It's totally thoroughly cooked. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a plate and get back with you in a minute with that. Okay, so here's the finished plate. You got the steak and red gravy, you've got the peas, you've got the mashed potatoes covered in gravy, and we will see how tender it is here in just a second. So hubby's gonna be the taste tester. Cut off a piece. I put him a knife there.
It's very good.
How tender is the steak?